All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Go Wellness Practice Accelerator Challenges. This is your host of the evening or afternoon, I guess, Kate Archibald, and hoping you guys are doing awesome. We just got done with an amazing event in Salt Lake, so if you guys weren't there, I'm pretty disappointed, but we had a great time.
Yeah, it was quite the event. And so what we're going to cover today is we're going to dive into what we talked about in session one and give you an overview. And then we may cover some of the topics that we didn't quite have enough time to go deep enough into. But all in all, session one, and I got a really cool signal chat from one of you, and what you said, it was really cool. I'll just read it. Basically, actually my phone's dead, so I can't read it, but it was basically like, hey, this whole weekend's event was built around increasing the light in our patients. And we use the mitochondria as that light switch because you've got these little nanomotors that are just spinning at this like fascinatingly fast rate. And so all we were doing is saying, let's increase the light. And so every speaker who came on, that was kind of the theme, everything would tie back. When Mike Caruso was on, our PhD from BPI, the pharmacist, he's talking about sports psychology and physiology. He said, look, insulin is the most anabolic hormone that we have in the body. And fortunately, his PhD was in that particular mechanism of action. But he says, if the mitochondria broke, you're going to have more insulin resistance and you won't put on muscle mass. And this is where, diabetes is coming from. And it's a major problem. And one of the big peptides that we covered was the semaglutide. And semaglutide is just a game changer as far as stabilizing hemoglobin A1C and blood sugar. It's a GLP-1 agonist. And so it works directly on the pancreatic enzyme. So for any of your patients who have issues with insulin, whether that's C-peptide or if it's fasting insulin, non-fasting insulin, or hemoglobin A1C, that's the peptide because it fixes that broken mechanism of getting insulin responsive to the cells, which means you have an energy transfer, because all insulin's trying to do is transfer energy. It's a really powerful hormone. And sometimes we kind of think of it as being a bad guy, because when it's not regulated, our bodies really start to break down. We get more inflammation. If we have insulin resistance, we have more cardiovascular disease. Our kidneys start to break down and function. Our nerves don't function as well. It's just not good, but it's not insulin's fault. It's the problem is that there's not an energy transfer. And so you break that electron transport chain and the mitochondria starve out. So the semaglutide is amazing, and Wells is carrying that, VPI is carrying it, and it's a simple once a week injection, 0.1 ml. And so I'm excited, and stacking that with tesamorelin seems to be the gold standard for those of you biohackers who want to put on some more mass and get a six-pack at the same time. So that's it. So yeah, that was pretty fascinating, wasn't it, kid? You didn't hear that?
Yeah, I wasn't in that. So my mind's just going like, whoa, this is new stuff. So so semaglutide. So this can be for anyone with diabetes problems, blood sugar complications. And prior to that, was it ARA 290 that was really effective at that? I know ARA 290 is more for the nerves. What were we using?
ARA 290, you can use those together. Semaglutide, ARA 290. Semaglutide can be used with insulin and metformin, but it doesn't have it doesn't seem to have any of the adverse reactions. So it's just such a cool peptide that's, there's been a lot of research on it. I can't remember the pharmaceutical name, but yeah, of course, the pharmaceuticals put a patent on it. They changed the chemical makeup a little bit. So, but semaglutide is going to be, you'll see this be a massive, massive component of your practice if you're doing anything with diabetes. And Kate, a lot of this happened as just a side benefit, not of what Mike was saying in his conversation, because he was going through more of the science of it all.
Yeah.
But this was a side conversation that I was sharing with him, and seeing it in our patients who we're starting to use this with. So yeah, if you guys, realize that these Go Wellness events, probably one of the biggest benefits you get is you just get to hang out with really cool, smart people who have some new insights that you may not have thought about.
Totally.
So I think
that's awesome. Well, I gotta start with some semaglutide with some tesmorelin and ipamorelin. That sounds like a powerful combo.
Yeah, I think it's going to be it's massive. And so that was a big one. Then I also appreciated Dr. Eckel, his presentation on Chinese medicine, the Neijing Su Wen. He dove into all of these energetic frequencies. And the cool thing about most people in Go Wellness is we're all deeply trenched in kind of some mystical experiences in our lives, and we really appreciate the esoteric nature of medicine. And Greg, Dr. Eckel, had been out on an adventure. He did a 4-day long meditation retreat, and it just like opened up his mind, and he was on fire. I mean, it was cool. I think he had the whole room crying. He was just about how we could create energy. And that's the thing is if we're using the meridian systems, and if we're using all the elements, and we're coming from the heart, that's where we create from. And we literally are the universe, and we forget that. And so Dr. Eckel tied it into all of the healing from the classics, and how in Chinese medicine they were able to realize that, hey, when there's stagnation, when there's dampness, you're losing your light, and you're not creating in the way that nature intended you to do. And so the harmony comes when you've got a proper balance between yin and yang energies. And when those yin yang energies are in coordination, then you have proper movement of the lymphatics, you have proper vibration in the mitochondria, and then that's really where your body can start to have a massive transformation. And he shared some Qigong. He talked about the peptides. I love his yin yang version of the peptides. One of his doctors, what's his name? Dr. Dahl. Dr. Dahl at his clinic there put together the yin yang peptides based on the Peptide Advantage course that they're in.
Nice.
And it was really cool to see, like, you've got the yin peptides like DSIP and epitalin, like ABP7, some of these, the zinc thymulin. I put GHK copper in there as well. And then you've got more of the yang side, which is like the BPC157, thymosin beta 4, even LL37 is very yang, it's regenerative, but it's antimicrobial. And so just tying that together and seeing how it all, pulls into these more esoteric Chinese medical perspectives was super powerful. So those were some of the, big takeaways that I got.
That is awesome. Those are both, I missed both those. I was out doing some coaching. So that's incredible.
Yeah,
we good talks.
We launched the new Accelerate program. And so I shared some of that new research where, when people are looking into wellness, you have to understand what they want. And we think they want like this really tight eating plan, and they want to know how to manage stress and how to meditate and how to have the right levels of exercise. And so we spend all our time on the non-essential things. The essential things that people really want when it comes to wellness is they want positive relationships and financial stability. And those are the two biggest correlations. I mean, if you look at the Consumer Health Report, all the research they did with, they covered the whole socioeconomic status of everyone. They got all the age groups in there, and it's financial security, stability, and positive relationships is what people Phil, is the most important indicators of being healthy for health and well-being. And so our whole programs now, and you'll see in the Accelerate program, is our conversations are built around that. And when we take and enroll somebody into a program, we take them through our 3 phases: the reset, the recharge, the restore. And each one of these phases, we went into a pretty deep dive into each one of those, and just uncovered how you can simplify your program but get a much faster result. And so that was kind of a deep dive, because I had several of our clients, Kate, come up to me, and you probably saw it in coaching, and they're like, the programs make so much more sense, and they're going to be so much easier to implement, and I'm going to get 10 times the results. So
yeah, I think that was one of the biggest takeaways from all the attendees was the Accelerate program, how systematized it is, and how easy it is to replicate and deliver. So I think one of the challenges we've had in the past is, we have all these different providers that have their, specific philosophies, but when you can have a template that just says, okay, we're rolling out these peptides month 1 through 6, and then we're rolling out, the cell core process stage 1 through 5 or 4. It's just been incredible. Just like light bulbs. Oh, this is easy to implement and actually facilitate, and gets amazing results.
Yeah, we went through some of the testing, a deep dive in metabolomics, how to remove the interferences, how to build out programs for the long term. And it was actually really fun just to see what everyone is doing in their programs, and then kind of loop it in with ours. And one of the fun things that came out of this is when Dan got up and he talked about the cell danger response in the mitochondria. Did you hear Dan's, Kate?
I heard, I was in and out.
No worries. So
day 2 was,
Dan's was, this this was the day 1 where Dan brought in just all of the pretty incredible things that we're seeing with cell danger response in infertility and hormones. And so this is interesting, because it got me taking a deeper dive into hormones. And there's a new book called In the Flow. Dan didn't mention this, but he got me thinking that, we need to coach our patients more on lifestyle, our female patients, building up lifestyle around a menstrual cycle. We're so big in the circadian rhythms, and now it's time for us to take the next step and really start telling our patients, hey, if you're doing all this HIIT training during menstruation, you're doing more harm than good. Or if you're doing these heavy fasts and going low carb, like a lot of the ketogenic style, much of the research, the majority of the research on hormones is with men. And so there's some things we've got to do to shift. And that's, once again, this is why we have these Go Wellness events, because we all get together and we say, how can we be better? How can we improve on what we're doing with our patients? And how can we get them the results they're looking for, and have better businesses and be happier and have more freedom as healthcare entrepreneurs, and also be profitable, because it's a really important aspect of business. So that was a big takeaway of mine. So Kate, In the Flow is a book. We need to order those for the office. You'll love them.
Yeah, I love that.
We talked about our 3-day marketing, how we're not doing singular workshops anymore. And we don't just do a 1 day. And we talked about the 3-day events and how powerful those have been, our weight conversion challenges. And so if you are looking to really launch your peptide programs, you want to make sure that you've got the capabilities of doing 3 days. Don't do these 1-day things. And it's critical, because we've made such massive changes in Go Wellness in the last 2 months. And a lot of these changes, and I gave credit where credit was due to Greg McCowan in the book, 2 books of his I read, Essentialism and then Effortless. And so these are a couple no-brainers.
Hey everybody, Reagan Archibald here. I hope you enjoyed the Go Wellness show and maybe learned a couple things you could apply to your practice. If you're a healthcare entrepreneur who wants to work in an academic think tank with like-minded humans who are just like you, looking to provide better service, better quality of care for your patients, reach us at info@gowellness.com and we're happy to do a free practice analysis for you.